Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in the video day, and today we're going to be talking about a potential Houston Rockets blessing. And yes, I just used the word blessing because with some of the news that has came around today in the NBA for the NBA draft, it is seeming like the Houston Rockets could potentially get Scoot Henderson in the NBA draft and not even having to move at all. And I know that sounds crazy. It really does. And and honestly, in my opinion, I sound crazy. But if you really go over the facts, it's not. It could be realistic for the Houston Rockets to potentially get Scoot Henderson at the 4th overall pick with some of the news we've heard today in the NBA. So let's go over the first 3 picks. So at number 1, Victor Wembanyama. At 1, Scoot Henderson's not going 1. That's obvious. Number 2, what the rumors have been going on is that Brandon Miller will be going number 2 to Charlotte. That is what everybody's believing. That Charlotte is rumored to draft Brandon Miller in the draft. Honestly, it makes sense. As much as I think Scoot Henderson is a good player, I think Brandon Miller is just going to be as good as a player as Scoot Henderson, and they're really not in need for a guard. You know, they could take Scoot Henderson, pair him up with LaMelo Ball, but in all honesty, they can also keep Terry Rozier with LaMelo Ball, keep that backcourt, and get Brandon Miller at a small forward position. They kind of need more. Honestly, in my opinion, I think the Charlotte Hornets need more help at the small forward position than they do the point guard position. They already have LaMelo and Terry Rozier. Obviously, Terry Rozier could get traded this offseason because there's a lot of rumors on him potentially getting traded. But if he doesn't, you got Rozier and LaMelo. Honestly, they're more in need of Brandon Miller than they are Scoot Henderson. And then the other rumors we've been hearing today is that their NBA executives, NBA people in the NBA are thinking that Portland's not going to be able to trade the 3rd overall pick. And we've heard potentially Toronto and Portland maybe striking a deal. But after Portland has seemed that Shaedon Sharpe is off limits, now everybody in the NBA executives, and NBA insiders are saying that they don't believe the Blazers will be able to trade that 3rd overall pick. I really do think the only team that's going to really be really interested to trade for the 3rd overall pick and give up a decent amount, a good player back for it, is only 2 teams I really could see being interested in the 3rd overall pick is 2 teams, the Indiana Pacers and the Toronto Raptors. And I honestly do think the Toronto Raptors would probably want Shaedon Sharpe. And Portland is not trading Shaedon Sharpe. They have said he's off limits. So if you view it as Portland, if Portland keeps their 3rd overall pick, and they are not trading Damian Lillard. And honestly, in my opinion, I thought if the only way Anthony Simons is going to get traded is if the 3rd overall pick got traded. I think in my opinion, I thought only way Anthony Simons would be dealt this offseason would be if the 3rd overall pick was sent somewhere else and Anthony Simons was sent with him. With that pick, sorry. And in all honesty, I don't see if that 3rd overall pick is going to stay with the Blazers, which it's not for sure it is. I don't see Simons going anywhere. Sharpe's off limits. Portland is intimate on not trading Damian Lillard. So in that case, why would this team add in Scoot Henderson? Why would they? I mean, you could add in Amen Thompson, who is just as good as a player, just not that good of a shooter as Scoot Henderson is. Scoot Henderson's an amazing 3-point shooter, while Amen Thompson is not. But I mean, Scoot averaged 21.1 points per game in the G League this year, and then Amen averaged 20.8 at Overtime Elite. Amen averaged 8-point-something rebounds per game, while Scoot only averaged 6-something. Amen averaged 8.2 rebounds per game, and Scoot averaged 6. And then Scoot only averaged 7.6 assists per game, and then while Amen averaged 7.9. Not a huge difference, but it is a difference. And then steals is one of the biggest, crazy, scariest factors. Is Scoot had 1.6 steals per game, which is really good until you hear Amon's 3.4 steals per game. And that's not the only thing with the stats difference. But you can also move Amon Thompson to the small forward position, and that is something you can't do with Scoot Henderson. That is something it's possible with Shaden Sharp. It's not. I mean, honestly, Shaden Sharp could be played at the 3. I don't see it happening though. Shaden Sharp could play the 3, but I don't see it happening though. Anthony Simons can't play the 3. Neither can Damian Lillard. Neither can Scoot Henderson. But here is Amon Thompson, who can play the point guard position, the shooting guard position, and the small forward position. So if they want Amon Thompson to play the small forward position for them, he can do that. On the other end, that's something Scoot can't do. You cannot move him to the small forward position. There's another world where maybe Portland drafts Scoot Henderson, puts him at the 2, and then Lillard at the 1, and then Shaden Sharp at the 3. But that is a crazy small lineup. Lillard is not that tall. I mean, Scoot Henderson is 6'2". I don't know Sharp's exact height, but he's not that tall either. I mean, that is not a big lineup at all. And who knows who would be at the 4? I mean, you have Nurkic at the 5, but who knows who's going to be at the 4? So I honestly don't know but if you add an Amon Thompson, Anthony Simons he's not huge as well, but he's taller than all Scoot Henderson, Dame, and Shaden Sharp, but Amon Thompson is 6'6", almost 6'7", so he has height. He has a lot of height, and if you have Scoot Henderson, you have Damian Lillard, you have Anthony Simons, you have Shaden Sharp. All 4 of those guys are not really favored at height. And it just points like if Portland's gonna keep this pick, which I think it's a 50% chance they keep the pick or trade it. Honestly, if Brandon Miller. I think the number one guy they want to get is Brandon Miller. But if Brandon Miller's going to go to the Hornets, I see them drafting Amon. Who cares if he's not that good of a 3-point shooter? You already have Anthony Simons and Damian Lillard, amazing shooters, and probably would add in some other decent shooters. He can do everything else. Great rebounder for a guard / forward. Great passer. Great defender. So in that case, I don't really see it as a bad draft pick for the Blazers. And in that case, our Houston Rockets get Scoot Henderson. So it works out for both teams. Really, it does. But honestly, in my opinion, I think if Brandon Miller ends up going to the Hornets, and Portland is not able to trade the pick and keep the pick, I do see Portland drafting Amon Thompson. But that's just my opinion for right now, with everything that's been going on with the draft. But in that case, the Houston Rockets get Scoot Henderson, and that's not only one thing that would be a blessing for Rockets fans, but also this would put an end to the James Harden signing, because if the Rockets. If Amon Thompson goes 3 to the Portland Trailblazers, the Rockets are not going to hesitate. They are going to definitely be drafting Scoot Henderson at 4. And in that case, James Harden would no longer be coming to Houston. I think the Rockets would still be interested in signing him. It would maybe try to put Scoot Henderson at the 1, James Harden at the 2, and Jalen Green at the 3, and then Jabari at the 4 and Sengun at the 5. But I think at that point, if the Rockets draft Scoot Henderson, we already heard today that James is trying to make a hard decision on either going back to the Rockets or re-signing with Philly. I think this would put it to bed for James. This would put it to bed, I think ultimately this would make him re-sign with Philadelphia. If Scoot Henderson fell to the Rockets at 4, and the Rockets drafted him, I don't see James Harden coming here. Which, honestly, I kind of wanted James Harden to come here. But, again, honestly, I'd rather have Scoot Henderson here than James Harden. And I don't think James would want to come here anymore. And I know a lot of Rockets fans want Scoot Henderson to come here and want James to stay the hell away from here, which I understand, but at the same time, I don't really. I would actually like Harden to come back to Houston, but if I have a choice between Scoot Henderson and James Harden, I'm going to be picking Scoot Henderson all day for the Houston Rockets. So that there is a possible chance, and I really do think there is a possible chance Scoot Henderson could potentially fall to the Houston Rockets at 4. You guys have your thoughts on the potential idea and maybe the Rockets getting Scoot Henderson at 4. You guys have your thoughts. That's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out. Go Rockets.